Hey, what's going on? Dr. Gonzo Boogie here again, back for another DVD and VHS update. And if you're a regular follower of my videos, you'll notice that the video quality is a little different on this video, and that's actually because I just got a new computer which has a new webcam on it, which is what I'm shooting this video with. And I would have to say I think the webcam is a little worse of a quality than my last one, but this is the first time I'm using it, so I'm not sure yet. I might have it in a wrong setting or something like that. I'll have to figure that out down the line, but I figured I'd shoot a video anyways and test out the new computer. And I'm hoping also with the new computer I can get rid of any background noise that has been appearing in my videos over the past year or so. Again, if you regularly follow my videos at all in any way, you will probably notice that some of my videos tend to have a little bit of background noise in it, which was actually my webcam picking up the sound of my computer overheating, because sometimes when there's too much going on my computer, especially if I was filming a video with the webcam that was like 10 or 20 minutes long, it would start to overheat the computer and the webcam would pick up that sound, and that's what you were hearing in most of my videos for the background noise, was the sound of my computer overheating. So I'm hoping this new computer will fix that problem. And other than that, I'm just glad to have it, because the old computer was really starting to run slow. I've had it for 2-3 years. I have all my music and videos and stuff on it, so it just had a little bit too much on it, so it's about time to get a new one. But I have some really cool DVDs here, so I'm just going to get going. And after the DVDs, like always, I'll show you guys the tapes that I picked up also. But first off, here is the Criterion edition of Scanners. I'm really excited that I picked this one up. I also have the Criterion edition of Videodrome and Naked Lunch, two other David Cronenberg films. But when I heard recently that this one had been released by Criterion edition, I was really excited, but I figured it was probably just on Blu-ray, like a lot of movies are getting released nowadays. And I actually don't have a Blu-ray player yet, so I figured I wasn't going to be able to pick it up, but I saw in a couple other videos and even on Amazon that there was a DVD of it, so I was like, oh crap, if I find that, I'm definitely going to pick it up. And it actually wasn't at the FYE that I usually go to, but over the weekend I went to an FYE that's a little bit further away that I've never been to before, in a different mall, and I checked out what they had, and I actually found this there, and I was really excited. This is the 2-disc Criterion edition of Scanners. Of course, David Cronenberg's first 80s film, but just one of his best films too. I love it. And this is the 2-disc collection. Comes with an awesome insert, nice little booklet thing here. It's the artwork behind the booklet. And this is just a great set. Just looks awesome. And it's got some cool special features and a really good transfer of this, so just extremely excited that I picked this one up. Scanners Criterion edition. And next up is actually, this is the Alien Quadrilogy set. This is a newer release of it, and this is a box set that I've been wanting to pick up for a while. I love the Alien series. I actually already own some of them on DVD outside this box set. But I've been wanting to buy this for a while, and this is actually a 9-disc set. It comes with 2 discs for each film: Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. And then it comes with a bonus disc with a couple features on it and stuff like that. But what I really liked about this set was just how it was actually in a normal DVD case here, like a clamshell case. Because most of the time with box sets like this, even the earlier releases of this, they were put in like cardboard fold-out cases, and I have a bunch of DVD box sets that are in cardboard fold-out cases, and sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. It depends on how the company or manufacturer put it together or whatnot. But this one I thought looked really nice. It was in this really cool, clear, thick DVD case, which I thought was cool, and just a nicely organized, neat set, I guess. Got all 9 discs in here, and I think these discs come with the same features that are on the 2-disc special editions of each of these movies, so it just compiled all those together with a bonus disc. But again, mostly why I wanted to pick this up is because it was a nice, neat set, and I thought that was cool. So I'm glad I picked this one up. Alien Quadrilogy box set. Next up is another set, and this is the Mummy Legacy Collection from Universal, and I'm a huge fan of the Universal Monster movies. And right now I'm actually trying to collect all the re-releases of the Legacy sets, because when the older Legacy collections first came out, I actually had bought them all. This was when I was still in high school. It might even be like 10 years ago from now, or maybe not quite that, but at least like 6 or 8 years. They put out the older Legacy sets, and I had bought all those, but something actually happened to them, and most of mine got damaged. So now that they re-released them, I'm trying to buy them all back, which is really cool. And I recently just picked up the Mummy one, and I also have the Creature one, and I have the Frankenstein Legacy set too. So I have 3 of these right now, but there's still a bunch I need to pick up. This is really cool. It comes with all 5 of the classic Universal Mummy films. The first one and its 4 sequels, and then it also comes with the Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy film, and this is really cool. I actually don't have any of the sequels on DVD or tape right now. It comes with the Mummy's Hand, the Mummy's Tomb, the Mummy's Ghost, and the Mummy's Curse. So it's cool now I have all those, because the Mummy Universal series is one of my favorites. I've always been a fan of Mummy horror movies since I was a lot younger, and this is one of my favorite series to watch out of the Universal Monster series. So really glad that I finally have this on DVD again, and I definitely plan to pick more of these Legacy sets up soon. Alright, next up I picked up a couple Roger Corman sets right here. This one actually just comes with Battle Beyond the Star, and this is part of the Battle Beyond the Stars, and this is part of the Roger Corman Cult Classic series that Shout Factory put out. And this movie's alright. This is actually a Star Wars ripoff in a sense, but it's mostly just a sci-fi ripoff in general. And it was produced by Roger Corman, which Roger Corman has produced a lot of my favorite movies ever, and he's also directed some really awesome movies too. And when Roger Corman produces a movie, he's kind of in charge of the whole production sometimes, like with this one and Death Race 2000 and Rock and Roll High School. He's just kind of, in charge of who directs it and who writes it and who's going to be in it. So it's basically a Roger Corman film, even though most of the time, like with this one, he didn't direct it. But I actually thought this was okay, but I would say about halfway through I started to really get bored, and there wasn't a lot going on to keep my attention. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. The special effects were nice, and it had some, classic Roger Corman B stuff going on here, B-movie stuff, so that was fun to watch too. But it just didn't have a lot to keep my attention. I think that the original Star Wars movie is really good. It's a good movie to try to rip off, but this quite didn't hit the target, in my opinion, and I would say I think they were trying to make this longer to kind of be like a space epic, kind of like the Star Trek movie or Star Wars, and it sort of seemed to drag, in my opinion. But I'm definitely going to give this one another shot down the line, and maybe I'll enjoy it better on another day. Battle Beyond the Stars. Then I picked up another Roger Corman set, and I was actually a little disappointed. I picked this one up. This comes with Demon of Paradise and Up from the Depths. And I picked this one up thinking that Roger Corman had something to do with these films. I think they were released under his New World Pictures film studios, which was an independent company he ran during the 80s and 70s and everything. But he actually didn't produce these movies, and his name wasn't on the credit at all, which was a little disappointing to me, because right now I'm trying to get a lot of Roger Corman stuff, and this is part of the Roger Corman Cult Classic series. So again, a little disappointed that this didn't really have anything to do with him. But again, they were released by his film company, so that was like enough, I guess, for them to add it to the Roger Corman series. But I actually thought Up from the Depths was pretty boring. Again, with Battle Beyond the Stars, probably like halfway through, I just kind of started to lose interest and kind of just zoned out and wasn't really paying attention good anymore. But Demon of Paradise I actually thought was really good. Both of these are kind of like Jaws ripoffs, but they're more like vacation horror movies about people go to these vacation resorts or resort horror movies, whatever you would classify it as, where these people go on vacation to a resort and they get attacked by these monsters. But Demon of Paradise is actually really fun, and I had a lot of fun watching that one. It's kind of like a Creature from the Black Lagoon ripoff, almost in a sense, where you can almost tell that with the cover. The monster looked pretty cool in this, and it was just cheesy 80s fun. So I would actually recommend that one, Demon of Paradise. But Up From the Deaths, I would say you can probably pass on that one. But this is part of the Roger Corman Cult Classic series from Shout Factory, and it's a nice looking release anyways, and the quality on the transfers for these movies was pretty good too. And then there's the insert, which has some pictures of the other releases in this line. There's actually a bunch more of these I want to get, and the Slumber Party Massacre set is definitely at the top of the list. I think it comes with 3 of the Slumber Party Massacre movies, all 3 of them, so that's really cool. Just good stuff here. Alright, and last for the DVDs this is actually the Anchor Bay edition of Prom Night, which I've been wanting to get for a while. I always see budget, cheaper editions of this movie, and I knew there was an Anchor Bay release of it, but I've never stumbled upon it before. But I was at the FYE that I went to over this weekend. That was an FYE that I've never really been to before, and they had this used for, I think it was $5.99, so I couldn't pass on that. It actually, sadly, doesn't have an insert, but it has a pretty cool disc art. You can't really see, but it just says, it has kind of like the movie poster, but it's like on a clear disc. So I think it looks pretty cool, unique for an Anchor Bay release, actually. And this is the back there. Just cool stuff here. Glad to finally have this one. Jamie Lee Curtis in this, just classic 80s slasher film all over the place right here. So finally glad that I picked up the Anchor Bay. This is actually not worth too much. I was gonna buy this offline a bunch of times. You know, I've seen it on there for $2-3. You can get it brand new for pretty cheap too for an out of print Anchor Bay. But again, just glad to have it anyways. Alright, and next up here, before I show you guys the tapes, I just have a really cool CD thing. This also comes with a DVD, which is why I'm showing it. But this is like a CD box set that I picked up over the weekend too at this mall that I went to. They had a Best Buy, so I went in and I was looking around and I stumbled across this awesome Blondie CD that was just released. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you know, huge Blondie fan. And I actually saw when this was coming out on Amazon.com, and I was going to order it, but I never got around to it. And before I knew it, I just kind of forgot about it. But this is actually a special edition release of their newest album, Ghost of Download, which I remember when this came out, they were actually on TV talking about this a lot. Like the band was trying to promote it on TV and talk shows and everything. So I thought that was really cool to see Debbie Harry and Chris Stein on TV again. So it was cool when this album was coming out. But I actually didn't get a chance to listen to the new album yet, Ghost to Download, but you know, it's probably okay. I'm a huge fan of their stuff from the 70s and 80s, and I've never been the biggest fan of the stuff that they put out after that, even though I do like the first album they put out after the 80s stuff, which I think is called like No Exit. No Exit. It has their song Maria on it. I thought that was a pretty good album, but basically everything after that I never got too big into, but I'm going to give this one a shot too. But this is actually a 3 CD, well actually a 2 CD and a DVD set, which is why I picked this up, just because it's really awesome, especially for a Blondie collector like me. And it comes with a cool greatest hits collection, which I'll show you guys, which just like the cover art for this features a painting by Andy Warhol, which has always been one of my favorite images related to Blondie, and I've always thought they should use Andy Warhol's Debbie Harry pictures as like an album cover or DVD or even poster, so I'm glad that somebody finally used it for something. And this is the Greatest Hits Redux, and this is actually like a remix of all their classic hits, and 3 of the songs, it actually says on here, Heart of Glass, One Way or Another, and Call Me are totally redone by the new lineup of the band, which features 3 of the classic members still, but it features some new guys too in it. So it's actually, some of the songs are redone by the new band, but some of them, from what I listened to, because I actually listened to this, the Greatest Hits Redux, and it just seemed like they were remixed with Debbie Harry redoing the vocals nowadays, and the backing tracks are just remixed because a lot of the horns and little keyboard parts sounded exactly the same as the older recordings, just slightly remixed a little bit. So I'm not exactly sure what this is 100%, but it's just a remix and a redone of their classic greatest hits, which I think is really cool in a way, but also I feel like bands don't really need to do that because the classic hits are great how they are, and redoing the vocals nowadays and remixing them really didn't add anything to these songs to me. It just kind of took away from them. Like instantly when I was done listening to this, I popped in an older Blondie greatest hits just to get the classic ones in again because like I said, I think this is cool that they did this, but I don't really think they need to because the classic ones have so much energy and are just great tracks as they are. They don't really need to be remixed, and the vocals definitely don't need to be redone. But, other than that, it's cool. Some great artwork here. It's cool stuff. There's a picture of Andy Warhol getting Debbie Harry ready for the picture, I'm guessing. This is really cool just for the artwork on this too, but this was actually the main reason I picked up this set and why I'm showing it in this video is because it comes with a DVD of Blondie live at CBGBs 1977, which this is just awesome. This features a classic performance of Blondie when they were just starting out a year or two into their band, playing at CBGBs, which is a classic punk rock concert place from New York back in the day. Just back in the 70s and 80s, it was just, there's so many great bands playing there, and it was basically just like a dirty basement, like a bar type area. It wasn't like a, like a extravagant club or anything like that. It's kind of just like a beat up little basement thing where all these bands played at, and it definitely adds character to this performance. And I was going to say everything about this DVD I thought was great. I watched this just a couple days ago, and it has the band going through most of the songs off their first album, and a couple other songs are on there too. And it was just a really fun performance. Like, the audio quality wasn't the best, and the video quality wasn't the best, but it was just really cool to see Blondie at CBGB's in 1977. And since the quality on the music wasn't so good and the video wasn't so good, it really kind of gave you the feeling in a way of what it was like to be there, especially just the atmosphere of the place. And I thought this was just a unique thing, and I'm really glad they included this with the CD release. And I'm not going to show it right here, but this actually came with some like photo replicas from Chris Stein's like personal library of photos. He took pictures of the CBGB scene and Debbie Harry throughout the whole 70s and 80s, so he has some awesome photos, but it also comes with a poster too. So this is just really cool. Probably the coolest thing that came with the CD, in my opinion. And then the last thing that came with this little set was the Blondie Goes to Download CD, which seems pretty cool. I took a look at the artwork and everything, and I'm definitely going to check this one out eventually when I have some time to get around to it. But this is their newest album from Blondie, so that's really awesome. And that was it for the DVD things, but I have some tapes here that I'm just going to show you guys really quick. First off, I picked Creature from the Black Lagoon up. This is part of the Classic Monster Collection that Universal put out on VHS in the early 90s. And it's a goal of mine to collect all these tape. They all had this uniform look to them with the same banners and logos and styles and everything. So when you put these next to each other on a shelf, they look really nice. So one day I hope to get all these on tape. And some of the ones that are part of this collection that Universal put out are hard to find, and you either can't get on DVD or they're just hard to find on DVD. So definitely for a Universal Monster fan, I feel like it's essential to try to own all these tapes. This is the Creature from the Black Lagoon one. I have a pretty good amount of them, but there's still a lot. I'm not even halfway into collecting them yet. But next up is Scanners 3, The Takeover, and this is actually another copy I have of this. I actually, probably 2-3 months ago, might have been even longer than that, I picked this up when I picked up the other Scanner sequels, but the copy I got wasn't in the best condition. The VHS case was actually cut and taped a little bit at the top, and the first, I would say almost half hour, 40 minutes of this tape skipped kind of, so I had been wanting to rebuy this, and I found it at a thrift store for $1, so I was like, hell yeah, definitely buying this. I actually thought this was the worst out of all the Scanner sequels, even though none of them are that great, but this I actually thought was the worst one. But anyways, I'm glad to have a better copy of it, but this is actually a promotional copy or a screener copy of this movie, so I'll have to check it out and see how the quality is on this one anyways. Or right there it says promotional use only, not for resale. And last for the tapes and last for this video is this is actually probably the coolest tape that I picked up in the past 2 weeks, and this is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and this is the old MCA home video tape of this. I found this at a thrift store for $1. I'm sure for a Halloween collector who's trying to buy all these tapes on DVD, I'm sure this is one of the ones that is a little bit pricier, around $5 to $10 used, so I'm really glad to pick this one up. It has great artwork on it. This is actually one of my favorites in the Halloween series, and I've talked about this a bunch of times in my other videos, but this movie grew on me over the years. When I first got into the Halloween series when I was a lot younger, I used to hate this movie because Michael Myers wasn't in it, and it had nothing to do with the rest of the series. But as the years have gone on, this movie has grown on me, and I like how it's unique, and I like how it's different, and I like just the story and the mood and vibe of this movie. It's very John Carpenter, the story and everything, so this has actually become one of my favorite Halloween films in the series. And I consider it part of the trilogy that John Carpenter had worked on, which is the first 3 Halloween movies. They're the only movies that he had any involvement with at all. And this one he does the music in still, and it just has a John Carpenter vibe to it. But this is just an awesome tape. It's in really good condition. The case is nice and shiny still, and the tape itself is in good condition. So this is just awesome, and definitely one of my favorite VHS tapes I own right now. Great stuff right here. Halloween 3, highly recommend it. But that was the update for this week, and like always, thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. See you guys later.